You know the name Mrs. Myers because you see it on store shelves everywhere, but there is a story behind the brand, and it actually begins with a real Mrs. Myers. One of her 9 children, Monica, wrote this book right here that you're looking at, I Bottled My Mother, and it's all about Mrs. Myers, the life lessons that she taught them, as well as building a business. Monica Nassif joins us now talking about the book and all of the great things. I cannot believe growing up in a house full of 9, Mrs. Myers must have really needed to do a whole lot of cleaning for sure.
Oh, she had a lot of help, right? I mean, every Saturday morning she had an envelope. She wrote it on the back of an envelope because she didn't want to waste paper, and all your jobs were there. You couldn't go out to play until your assignments were done and checked off the list.
I love it. I love it. So in your book, you talk about how your mom inspired you in many ways, much more than just household cleaning, but life lessons.
Oh, yeah, she was all about get a job really early. She said, "Hey, I don't really care what your grades are. I want you to be financially independent." So she was always about getting a job. To us, that was, she called it the confidence of a paycheck. And she really believed that if you could support yourself, you could make it in the world. So that was really important to her.
All right. And I think of like the 9 kids. And so that's a lot of motherly wisdom that's being imparted over the years. As we head into Mother's Day weekend, you talk about how your mom was really specific in raising adults, not raising children. What's the difference there? What's the life lesson for all of us?
Well, she wasn't a helicopter parent, let me tell you. You were kind of shuttled outside to figure it out on your own. And she really taught us independence. She never hovered over our shoulders while we filled out our college applications. She'd always say, ride your bike down there and go get a job. It was like, you figure it out. She never made a phone call for anyone. You make the phone call and you ask for what you want. She really encouraged independence. And the other thing my mother instilled in all of us was fear of failure. It didn't exist to her. She said, failure's not in my vocabulary. I call it learning. And so she had this great attitude about, well, now we know. Oh, that didn't work out. No big deal. Just do it again. And now we know. Let's move on.
Yeah,
Next.
it wasn't
That
a
was,
devastating thing. It was a learning
oh,
moment. Let's
no.
pivot.
No, there was no tisk, tisk, tisk. It was like, well, okay, you didn't know that. Now you know. Let's go. I mean, she had a lot going on,
Right.
so she wanted to
Okay.
get moving.
In the book, you talk about developing a turd strategy, and those are the words that you use. What is that, and how do we rebound from that?
Well, when I used to sit on a board with a guy who said, if you have to eat a turd, don't nibble on it. And what he meant that was that if you have a failure and a problem, fix it and move on. Don't stew over, don't nibble on it, fix it and move on. So that was a big lesson for me in terms of, hey, again, next, now we know. We didn't know that before. Now we know, don't stew on it. Let's go. So
Okay,
that was his saying, which I took to
that is
heart.
interesting. Never heard about that. Totally get it. I understand why he would say that. You also talk about in the book about the power, the magic power, the flying carpet that we all possess.
It's called creativity. And my mom believed it all rested in your hands. She taught us to cook, sew, garden, and she believed that play was creativity, and she believed that if you had time to play and dream, that made a beautiful life. And my mom really noticed beautiful things, flowers, clothing, a simple dish or pastry that her friend made. And so that was really important to my mother, was creativity, and it was really due to scarcity. They didn't have a lot of, we didn't have a lot of things growing up, and so that's how we survived, was either make it, reuse it, fix it, and move on. And again, that's creative problem solving.
Creative problem solving. I love that in a whole new way, too. Let's talk about the daily devotions that are in the book from your mom.
Yes. I always think of my mom. She has 4, and they're all so important to her. Faith. She's very religious. She believes God watches over her and prays for her and takes care of her and her family. The other thing my mom is really into is food. Do not miss a meal with my mother. She wants to know what we're having for breakfast, what for lunch, and what time's dinner. Well, what did you have yesterday for dinner? Do we have any leftovers? Nothing was thrown away in our house because she had to feed an army of 11, right? So that's important. The third thing was fresh air. She loved the outdoors. We hiked all over the West. She really loves the national parks. And she made my dad build a barbed wire fence in the backyard so she could shuttle all of us out there when we were small. But she believed in the power of fresh air. And then also too, frugality. You know, she was the child of the Depression. They didn't have a lot, so her motto was waste not, want not. So
Hmm.
again, she reused, repurposed, recycled everything. That was really important to her, to respect Mother Nature.
I love the glimpse into your mom, which is the namesake for the business that you built. I want to be able to show folks the book once again so that they can see it as well. It's called I Bottled My Mother, the Mrs. Myers Story, Grit, Grime, and Growing a Business. Monica Nassif, thank you so much for joining us. We so appreciate it. Folks at home, this interview is going to be online, so look in the Two Wants to Know section of our website.